Yay, we're there. And as you can see, it's just me. I've got no Barbara at the moment, she's not going to be coming today. She's got a really cool agility competition that she is running where she is. So she's got visitors and all sorts and super lots of busyness. So I am flying solo to discuss our amazing chase model. But don't worry, she has very kindly left me in charge of the fruit bowl. So you won't be missing out on the fruit-based questions, which is fabulous. Thank goodness for that, eh? But everyone's cheering. So if you are watching me, if you could say hello, let me know that I'm not all by myself. That would be amazing if you are watching on Facebook or on YouTube. I'm just going to see if I can get onto the magic thing on YouTube, which is still bamboozles me. But should be able to get onto the magic. Oh, LJ, I've just gone live on Facebook, so I should be there as well. But you're there on YouTube. Brilliant. See? But it's quite nice actually, because that then proves that I am talking to YouTubers as well. Carmela, hi. Josie, lovely to see you. And Marianne, good to see you too. If you let me know where you are watching from, I always like to get an idea. Ah, Sue. Oh my goodness, Sue, you're in Perth. Lovely. So hang on, let me try and work out because I lived in Melbourne for a few years. My son was born out there. And so it's 11 hours different in Melbourne at the moment, and I can never remember what the difference is in Perth, but it must be blooming early in the morning for you. Ah, LJ's over here now. So Carmela's in Cambridge and Josie in whereabouts in Mid Wales, Josie? I love it there. 1:30 a.m. Oh my goodness me. So no pressure to make this amazing then at all whatsoever. Right, I'm just going to give everybody a few minutes because I don't want to go steaming ahead unless, well, people are still waiting to join us. But I'm going to be talking all about the chase model. So yes, I am Barbara-less today. Um, she's been organising this awesome, amazing agility competition. So she's got people doing peoply things and lots of organising and stuff. So she's super busy. But as I said at the start, she has left me in charge of the fruit basket. So all is well. The fruit-based questions will still keep coming. Hi, Marion on YouTube. Lovely to see you as well. Thank you for your comments. That's great. Okay. I've got to control everything all by myself. Oh, can you imagine? I could go completely mad now. Um, oh, LJ, did you like the picture of Bodie in the post? I know, with his little snuffle ball. He just had such a happy little face. He just looked lovely. So we've got Demi in Yorkshire. Alison is in the UK as well. I've got Katrina here. And Daz is in Ireland. Fabulous. So nice to see you all here. Okay, so we've been talking about this chase model. Now, the chase model is something that Barbara and I have come up with ourselves. Hi, Anita from Kent. And the reason we came up with it is because we wanted to have an easy to understand and to follow sort of framework, really, for looking at our dog's behavior, but something that was particularly pertinent for our reactive dogs. So that when we're actually looking at how we work with our dogs, we make sure that we're actually getting everything, because like it says in the title of this live, training isn't enough. We have to look at a bigger picture. There's so much going on with our dogs. And if we just think that it's all going to be about training, we're not really going to get to the heart of the matter. There always used to be this thing, didn't there, that, you know, training our dog was all about getting them to do stuff. And it's all like, yes, let's get them to do a sit. And it's like, well, why? Well, why do we want to do that? Whereas actually what we're looking at is we're looking at helping our dogs to regulate, and we're looking at their emotional responses to their environment. Oh, hi, Patricia. We are on Facebook somewhere, but it's good to see you on YouTube anyway. I know there's a few people struggling on Facebook for some reason. It's one of those that no matter what I do and how I set it up, there's people always get someone always gets lost. But anyway, so that's kind of, so I've got Lorraine and Ginny both from Massachusetts. So that's where the Chase model came from. And the kind of, we started using it really when we were doing when we do diagnostic calls, so one-to-one diagnostic calls with people, because we've got we want to be able to give them as much as we possibly can in a limited amount of time. So it meant that everything, as I say, is really nicely structured and we're not actually going to miss anything. Lorraine's mother's family name was Chase. Well, this is blimmin' appropriate for you then, isn't it? That's absolutely fabulous. Okay, so let's start at the very beginning, the very best place to start, as you know, just to quote Julie Andrews. So Chase, obviously, each of the letters is going to stand for something. So, who would like in the comments to have a guess? So, thinking about when you're working with reactivity and with reactive dogs and owners of reactive dogs, what might the C stand for? This takes me back actually when I was at university, you know, back in my early 20s, and I studied for my first degree business. I don't know why. I still can't answer why I did that course. It was totally the wrong thing for me. But anyway, I remember in my finals, there was it was one of those where you had to pick 3 out of 5 essay questions. So I'd revised, you know, X number of topics. But anyway, the topics that I've revised, there was one of the questions, I could do 2 out of the 3, and then the third one I was really struggling because I hadn't revised it properly. So there was this question on talking about the 7 S's of sales promotion or something like that. So I wrote this essay thinking, right, okay, think about 7 words beginning with S. Anyway, I did pass, but it was a pretty close thing. Obviously not my thing. Oh, so what have we got? Context. I like that. Challenge or confidence, and calm as in our response. And do you know what? Every single answer that you've given there is absolutely fabulous and would be perfectly valid to be what the C stood for. But in fact, one of them is correct. You'll be delighted to hear. The C in Chase stands for confidence. So that's 10 out of 10 for Katrina that got that. So why is confidence so important for our reactive dogs? So if you could, in the comments, if you think your dog is really confident in new situations they haven't been to before, if you think your dog is really confident, put a cherry emoji. And if your dog is a bit more nervous and a bit more of a Scooby-Doo, put a banana emoji, please. So cherry if you have a confident dog, and a banana if you have a bit of a scaredy cat. Katrina's you didn't need to admit that, Katrina, that you read it this morning. So Sue has a Scooby-Doo scaredy cat dog. A banana. What about the rest of you? Oh, does that mean, Alison, you've got one of each, or is it that your dog, it depends on the situation? So Lorraine's got a scaredy cat dog. Carmela's got a scaredy cat dog. Scaredy cat dog, that sounds really weird, doesn't it? Anyway, yep. So, that's exactly what I was expecting. And you can see just by looking down, yeah, it depends on what she's doing. But you can see by looking down, and given that this is a group for owners of reactive dogs, it's what we would expect. What we would expect to see with dogs that show reactive behaviors is that they are dogs that don't always have an awful lot of confidence, particularly gaining confidence, optimism all the time. Yeah, particularly in novel situations and things that they're not sure of, because it's such a crucial part of the whole sort of reactivity picture. If you have a dog that is reactive, there's lots of different reasons for behavior that kind of looks sort of reactive or aggressive or whatever else you want to call it. There's lots of different reasons. But that kind of fear and anxiety is definitely one of those reasons, and it's one of the big ones. And a confident dog can take things much more in their strides. So, anybody got any ideas of the sorts of things that we might do to oh, that's a good, actually, before I go on to that question, I'm going to ask you another question first. So I'm going to ask you first, how do you know whether your dog is confident or not? What is it? Because obviously we can't read our dog's minds. So what is it that gives us that indication as to how confident or otherwise our dog is? We've got, yeah, more bananas on YouTube. Lovely, Carmela. We look at their body language, don't we? What sort of things might you see? Yeah, the temp, if you go by the, tail, eyes, ears, movement and posture, body stance, general body language, 100%, absolutely. What sort of things might you see in your dog if they're not very confident? What would you be looking out for? Tail down, yeah, absolutely. That might be one for some dogs. Although some dogs have a naturally down tail. We talked about this in the Learn to Speak dog, didn't we? It depends on what signals the tail gives depends on where they naturally hold their tail. Lip licking, the puffing of the cheeks, yeah, totally brilliant. And yes, that proper standing up straight, that standing erect, ear stance, reluctant to move forward, cowering, backing away, ears back. And you know what? Sometimes you almost get the opposite, don't you? So one of the things that I quite like to do is set up situations where I am putting, novel objects down for my dogs to explore with some food and that kind of thing. And when you have a dog that's lacking in confidence, you might get a dog that will really stand back. But you also sometimes get that dog that's like a bull in a china shop. So they go charging in, things go everywhere. They get all the food and then they charge out again. And that could be a sign of a lack of confidence as well, which is really interesting. Yeah, Demi, I like that. That how they take the training treats. That's really good. Josie Mohican hair, yeah, down the back. If you can see it. And Carmela's got the ball. So you totally get where I'm coming from. And that dog that lunges as well, and we know, don't we, when we look at the those sort of fear responses, we've got the fight or flight and freeze, but we've also got the fall around. So there's all sorts of different things going on. Anyway, I could and you've just seen, Alison, that your dog does the charging, which is brilliant. It's really, really interesting. And if you have a look at the enrichment course, there is some really nice games in there actually, which you can video your dog and you get a really great indication of where their head's at in terms of their confidence, and they're brilliant at helping to grow confidence. So talking of that, how do we grow confidence in our dogs? Emily, I will let you off, don't worry. You haven't got a detention. So what can we do to help our dogs grow in confidence? Patricia has one of her bananas. I like that. Is that we should call all our reactive dogs? Well, my banana barks lots. Yeah. And that's a space creating behavior. They're trying to create loads of space and make everything go away. So what could we do to help our dogs grow in confidence? Any ideas? I'm going to bob the link in actually, in case you need something to help with that. So you've got it. Quite proud of my multitasking so far. I think I'm doing quite well. All by my little self. Oh, I'm just having a look in here, and yeah, we've got something really cool coming for after Christmas to look forward to. Right, here we go. So yeah, sorts of things that we do to grow confidence. Emily does sniffing work. Yeah, and sniffing work is great for confidence. Absolutely. Katrina, introduce them to new experiences in a supported way, playing, scent work, give them distance time, autonomy, support, choices, all those kind of things. Absolutely brilliant. Honor the dog. Lorraine, I really love that. Relax ourselves. You have to stay calm. How hard is that, Carmela? And that kind of links to the super exciting thing that's coming after Christmas. Never cross or frustrated, never. But do you know what? It's so hard, isn't it? And I think sometimes we've got to be a little bit kind to ourselves and remember that we are only human and we're not perfect. And sometimes we get stuff wrong. And and we need to be kind to ourselves and just learn and move on. It's the only thing we can do. Alison, trusting relationship, lovely. Slow exposure, lovely. Reassurance, safe rehearsal. Absolutely. You guys are so wise. I love it. But yeah, those kind of things. And in terms of introducing our dogs to new novel experiences, there are certain enrichment games that you can use. So, we've been talking about our Enrichment Adventures course lately. So that's open at the moment. I've just put a link in case you fancy having a little look. So your behaviourist is, I'm so glad. It's lovely when we're all on the same page, isn't it? You can always tell who all the good guys are because we are all saying the same sort of stuff. So I've got another question for you. When you're working with your dog, so when you're doing training, are you consciously thinking of how you can allow your dog to have choices? Do you give your dogs choices during training? So if you do, could you put a avocado? So avocado for choices. If you don't give choices and you just like, right, this is what we're doing this now, could you put a pear? So LJ absolutely gives choices. Okay, so if you're an avocado person, so you do, I'm just imagining everyone's at home like, where the heck is this avocado emoji? Lots of avocado. So avocado people, what sort of choices are you giving your dogs? I love that we've got people that are using choices. For me, choices are important. It's not about free choice, Yeah, where you can if it's safe. That's exactly right, Katrina. So, you can't give total choice to your dog because, there are things like roads and poisonous stuff and all that kind of stuff. So you've got to be careful. Alison, sometimes but not often enough. I think I'd probably be like that, and Carmela, a little bit of both. So what sort of choices are we giving our dogs? Maybe we can help each other with some ideas. Opt in or opt out. Yeah, and anyone who's been on one of our live train alongs, which we're thinking of doing one actually, like for everybody, We'll probably have to charge a little bit, but we'll keep it super duper cheap. So if you're up for that, that might be kind of fun. But if you've ever seen one of our trained lungs, because my dogs and Barbara's dogs are very, very different. She's got like super drivey, amazing agility dogs. They're fabulous. So border collies, really great dogs. My dogs are crazy mixed up kid dogs. So they are, I'm going to actually write a little intro to my dogs and tell you a little bit about them over the next few weeks, probably in the new year actually, because I think it's quite interesting because they're both got a lot of baggage. So Dash particularly, he's a dog that needs to be able to opt out, and so quite often in the middle of a train long I will swap dogs because one of them's had enough. She's brilliant. Yeah, you have to monitor the irony. So Lorraine hasn't consciously got training routines. You watch her body, the surroundings, and make your own choices. Okay. Okay. So Kirsten loves doing consent petting with your dog and all the husbandry. So that's where, so any type of touching your dog, it's really nice to give your dog the opportunity to move away and say, I'm not comfortable with this. There are a lot of dogs out there that don't really like being petted and certainly don't like being hugged. So give them a minute. You know, it's that 3-second rule. Stroke them for 3 seconds or do whatever you're doing for 3 seconds. Stop, give them and not only give them the opportunity to move away, but see if they come back for more. And you give them a treat choice. Oh, I love it. Yeah, absolutely, Carmela. Love it. Right. Anyway, I need to move on because I love the confidence bit. It's my jam, really, the confidence building with dogs. I absolutely love it. Oh, I haven't been on YouTube. So yeah, Marion and Patricia, they give choices as well. Yeah, and you can give lots of lovely choices on walks, like where do you want to go, that kind of thing. So the H. Give me some ideas. What do you think the H might be standing for? I'll give you a clue. The H actually stands for two things, one of which begins with H and the other one doesn't. So it's something and something. And they didn't have to be together. One of them was nearly in another bit. Yeah, watching wildlife and tracking on lead, Katrina. Something that I'm doing an awful lot more of actually is at a distance, particularly with Dash. Again, I have to be really careful where I do it and watch his body language super carefully. But when it's really appropriate, just sit and watch. Oh, let's have a look. So, what's the H? Helping the dog, harmony, history. It could have been Hobbs as well, couldn't it be Carmela? But isn't that would be far too geeky. Although is anything. Yes. Yeah, really. Yeah, I like that article. I haven't read that one. I'm going to save that. I'll come back. Habitat. Alison's been working through the planner, but it's keeping quiet. Love it. So, you can say, I don't mind. So the H actually stands for health and safety. So the safety bit was originally going to be the S, but you'll understand why it isn't now when I get there. Why is health important? Marion's just put about the choices bit, where we walk and if we walk or play games in the garden. It'd be really interesting if you could share sort of what that looks like, how you do that. That'd be really cool if you can share. So, why is health important? Pain can impact on reactivity. If a dog isn't feeling well, they won't be as confident. Yeah, all of the above. I've got a really good case study that I've been working on lately. I will share that with you in just a second. So, but yeah, absolutely. And if you think about it from your own point of view, if you've got a headache, you're pretty blooming grumpy, aren't you? And everything, all the little niggles just feel so much worse and so much more severe, don't they? So that kind of discomfort, and it's not just like, have I got an injury? It can be itchiness as well. That can be a big one. It could be digestive issues as well. We know that the microbiome in the stomach is has a direct link with the brain. I was listening to something on a human medicine podcast actually the other day about how flipping amazing um, the gut fecal transplant is, which sounds absolutely utterly revolting, but it's all about getting that microbiome and all the bugs right in your stomach, because it has such an impact on our whole health, but also on our mental health and our brains as well. You lost me on Facebook, Marianne. Thank you for going to YouTube. I'm hoping the rest of us can still see me. Still see me. Yeah, there's a few people that have lost on Facebook. I'm not quite sure what's going on. I think we're okay. Give me a wave if we're still there. Yeah, it does affect the personality. Let me give you this case study of a little dog I've been working with for a little while now. So he's a cockapoo called Jasper, and he's a sweet little thing. And but his owner hadn't been able to take him out for a walk for a couple of months, probably about 3 months. So she hadn't been able to get the lead on him. Because every time, well, firstly, he was on a harness. She couldn't get the harness on him now when I first saw him because he hadn't been to the groomers. So his fur he'd gone all poofy, and the harness was just too small now, couldn't get all over the fluff. And she couldn't get a lead on his collar because he'd bite her if she went to look like lean towards him and try to put the lead onto his collar. So, and what this screamed to me about as loud as it possibly could is that there's some pain involvement here. It was a change in personality. So pain, 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 pain. So the first thing we did is I said, right, we need to get him to the vets. Of course, that's quite tricky when you can't get a lead on the dog. But anyway, so I went and helped to do that, and we managed to get him off there. Vet said, no, he's fine. And I said, well, no, he isn't, evidently, because we can see it in his behavior. And then yesterday I went back and helped her take him to a groomer's. And we had a long conversation about the fact that he was going to have to be shaved down to the skin, because there was a lot of matting there, and that could be a massive part of the problem. And when we actually got there, when he was shaved off, it was like shearing a sheep. It was all this fur was that matted, it was coming off in one big lump. And particularly the worst bits were around here, so just behind his ears, on his cheeks, and just at the side under his collar. Says it all, doesn't it? And that is the reason why, and that had caused him to bite her when she put his lead on, and also for him to become reactive to other dogs when he was out and about. Have I lost everybody? I'm just losing. People are going out. Is there something not right with the Facebook somewhere? Yeah, I've lost everybody. Do I need to? Should be there. Just wondering if I need to go somewhere else. If you can still see me and hear me, I can't see any comments at the moment. I'm just going to go on using my phone and see what happens. Sorry, and then I'll go back onto my health diatribe. But it's really interesting that it's pretty interesting that we can tell more about whether a dog's in pain from their behavior than we can from any sort of examination. Really interesting. Okay. Right. I'm just getting onto my phone. I haven't got any recent comments on here either, which makes me sad. I'm getting a little bit worried that something's gone wrong because I can't see anything. Yeah, I've lost a few of you. Can't see any comments. Has everybody gone to... Oh, brilliant. My YouTube people are still there. Hi, YouTube people. Facebook froze, did it, Alison? So what I might do is, yeah, I'm struggling with Facebook here. What I might do is see if I can get it back working on Facebook. Hopefully it'll work. So while we're waiting, for anybody that can hear me, let's talk about safety. And safety is huge, isn't it? If your dog doesn't feel safe, you can't really do anything. What sort of things can you do to help your dog feel safe? What sort of things might you do to help your dog feel safe? In the meantime, I'm going to end the live video on Facebook and see if I can start it again. I don't know, will that work? Yeah, don't know. Might not work. So yeah, YouTube people, I know, it kept freezing, did it? That's so annoying, isn't it? We got 7 of you here. I'm going to end the video on Facebook and then I might try and start it again and see what happens because no one's watching it there anyway. Okay, and it's not allowing me to do that either, so that's actually quite irritating. But anyway, not a problem. That's so frustrating. So what sort of things, YouTubers? Only walk in areas they're comfortable. Prevent exposure from the trigger, shield from threats where necessary, and possible routine and predictability. I'll talk about that in a minute, actually, Alison, because routine and predictability is really, really interesting. Praise the dog while doing short training trips, and there's lots of things. And one of the things you can do is use your body positioning. How can you use your body positioning to help your dog feel safer? So, for example, if there's something that they're worried about, if you put yourself in between your dog and the scary thing, that might really help them. Well, this is rubbish on Facebook today and nothing's working. Very weird. Not had this one happen before. Yeah, it's all frozen. Reasons I have no idea of. Life's annoying something. So that's the H. Now the A is probably a little bit more tricky, but if you do have any ideas of what the A might be, you can pop them in the chat, please. I'm just trying to get back onto Facebook while you're doing that on YouTube. So, but what I was going to say about the routine and predictability is it's a bit of a double-edged sword. So yes, you're absolutely right. Routine, predictability makes our dogs feel safe. Definitely, 100%. But the problem is if we have a really strict routine and then we change something that isn't in that routine, that can then make them feel really unsafe. So, um, so having a routine, but having a little bit of flexibility within that routine is a really good idea. So that your dog has the structure to feel safe, but also can cope with change. Um, yeah, that's going. It's not letting me go live anywhere at the moment. That's annoying. Very annoying for me. Okay, so any ideas what the A might be? Yeah, practice makes permanence. Keeping that in mind helps with both wanted and unwanted things. So I've got no ideas about what the A might be as yet. I'm still trying on Facebook. Yeah, it does look to be down, doesn't it, Lorraine? I don't think it's me. What I'm going to do though, I will put a link to this YouTube, I think in there so people can catch up if they need to. So the A stands for awareness. And that's all about you having the awareness. Oh, some great ones here. Phyllis Agency, love it. Um, Lorraine, allowing the dog to be a dog. Absolutely. I love it. However, it is to do with awareness, and it's all about do you really understand where your dog's at all the time? So it's about understanding that body language. It's about um, stress signals. It's about knowing what their triggers are. It's about knowing what's reinforcing for them. It's all about knowing what their thresholds are. So, oh, yes, brilliant. We can put fruit in the comments on YouTube as well, which is fabulous because I've got some of you back, got most of you back now, which is brilliant. So, in the chat, if you can get there, could you put an apple emoji if you think that you have a really good understanding of your dog's body language um, and their stress signals. So an apple if you think you have a good understanding, and maybe a lemon if you still think you're still learning and there's still work to be done there. So let's see if we can still do fruit on YouTube. I think this is a great idea. I do feel a bit sad about Facebook though at the moment. It feels like someone's chopped my arm off. Very strange. Thank crikey for YouTube, eh? Ah, we got some apples. Yes, LJ, you've worked really hard on that, haven't you? Lorraine, brilliant. Alison, still learning. And do you know what? I think we're all still learning to an extent, aren't we? Just go through a review the Learn to Speak dog. You've always got that resource there if you need it. So yeah, it's about having that real understanding of your dog. Because and the thing is, it's not just doing it once either, because it's not just about it's understanding where your dog is now, today. And who's got the sort of dog that one day their favorite food in the whole wide world might be chicken, and then the next day they won't touch it, and their favorite food in the whole world has suddenly become sardines or something like that. Who's got that kind of dog that will switch about what they love and the brilliant the things that are really reinforcing for them. So if that's your dog, let's pop a pineapple in the comments. We haven't had a pineapple yet. And I'd very much like you all to feedback to Barbara how amazing I have been with my fruit questions. Right, so we've still got some, yeah, people still learning. Yeah. And that's what I'd expect, that you're still learning. So have we got any pineapples? Oh, Mariana's found the pineapple. Yep. Getting better all the time, but always learn to stay present and pay attention to what he's telling me. Yeah. Yeah. So just having that awareness that as I say, dogs are like us, their preferences change. The things they're worried about change as well, actually. Both of them. So Patricia, I can read the body language, but you don't always know how to make them comfortable. If you can, Patricia, it'd be well worthwhile, actually. That's just the sort of thing that a diagnostic call would be absolutely perfect for. Um, Lorraine, you're driving, you pass a dog, you count 2.5 seconds and she barks. That gives you so much power, Lorraine, to change that behavior. We've talked before about settle, disturb, react. So she settles, she sees the thing, she goes, "Oh." And for her, that takes 2.5 seconds, and then she reacts. That 2.5 seconds, that's the golden moment. Okay, so yeah, more pineapples. Thank you from Phyllis. So what about the S? So we know that I said before the S originally was going to stand for safety, but then we changed our minds. So what do you think? Why do you think we changed it from safety, and what do you think we changed it to? Actually, I'll tell you the why we did it. The why we did it is because the thing we changed it to, we needed it to have a little bit of a spotlight on it. It's really, really important, and it's something that we often forget. So we wanted to make sure that it was front and center. So who has got an idea what the S is, might be? So Lisa, oh Lisa, lovely to see you, has got a good handle of reading body language, but still missing subtle cues. Wondering if it's more trigger stacking. Yeah, and that kind of trigger stacking or the bucket, huge, massive. You know, it can be the tiniest little things. I always remember Barbara's story about her Emma, who sadly died last year, but she would sit and watch birds out of the window. She didn't react at all, but it was just little drip, drip, drip. And that bucket filled and filled and filled. Little tiny things. So we've got security from two of you. No, not security. I would put security would come under safety. So it'd come under the H. So we got more votes for security. It's a good one. I mean, it's a jolly good one, but I think we can, as I say, we can put that under safety. We could also put it under the confidence a bit as well. Just going to give you a couple of minutes in case you think about anyone's got any other ideas. One more minute. You're going to love it when I tell you. Yeah, LJ, the self. So it's all about self-care. And we had to have that in there because we know how much we forget to look after ourselves and how crucial that connection between us and our dogs is so massively important. So if we're not looking after ourselves and how we're feeling, then we can't look after our dogs and how they're feeling. So it's really important we look after ourselves as well. So does anybody, are you somebody that sometimes dreads walks? Okay. If you dread sometimes taking your dog out for a walk, could you put a strawberry in the comments, please? Let's have some. So if you sometimes dread going for a walk with your dog, put a strawberry into the comments, please. Yeah. I mean, I've put myself in that category. Totally. Not anymore, LJ. Phyllis with an exclamation mark. Is it Dasil? You've got strawberry. Yeah, and it's totally natural because when you've had horrible experiences, we're the same as our dogs. We have that association, don't we? A bad experience far outweighs 100 good experiences. So it's totally natural that you do that. So, and only when it's freezing cold or when it's pouring down with rain. Or this is my big bugbear, if it's a little bit slippery underfoot. I hate that. Anyway, depending on time of day and what's likely to be around, i.e. cats. So do you do anything particularly to prepare yourself emotionally before you go out for a walk? Does anybody do anything to help prepare themselves? Is that maybe a good idea? Just asking the question. I do sometimes. And sometimes, like today, last night was a bit stressful. So today, I've been a bit of a stress-ed place. So it hasn't been the best time for me to walk the dog. So I've had to get my head in the right place first. Think positive thoughts. Now, if you go back, we did a live on confidence stacking. And you might have to scroll back through the Facebook, but basically, confidence stacking is where we think of all the things that actually we're brilliant at. So you can write down 10 things that you're really proud of and make you feel really good. And if you think about those and you acknowledge those, it's then changes your physiology. It makes you feel so much better and more positive before you go out. It's interesting. Take some deep breaths. Make sure you're doing well together. Check the surroundings. Checking in with breathing. Yeah, put your big girl pants on, Sue. I like that. Yeah, I had to put big girl pants on today. Yes, we shouldn't we, Alison? I mean, it's when you say it, it's one of them things when you say it, it's like, well, that's obvious. Of course we do. And you tell yourself to allow Junior to tell me what and how he's feeling or wants to do. And I like that. I mean, the other thing that you can do is just plan a little bit in your head. So you could decide, okay, we're going on a walk. I think this is where we're going to go. And just sort of imagine where you're going to go and think how you can create space in each of those places. So you feel, what am I going to do if I see a dog come around the corner? What's my plan? So you feel forewarned and forearmed. It's going to make you feel 100 times better. Yeah, make sure you've got everything that you need with you. You've got all the information that you need. Perfect. So we only have the E to go now. Any ideas? What might the E be? Who thinks they might know? Yeah, forewarned and forearmed is definitely, but it just makes you feel better in yourself, doesn't it? Enjoyment. Do you know, it's not, but it could be. And it could actually, there are two words, okay? Going to give you a clue. The brilliant thing is there are two words and they both begin with E. And I could have put enjoyment in there as well. And somebody said one of them. So Patricia says exercise, and that is in there, yeah. Exercise is in there. So I'll bump that in, but it's exercise and something else. Environment. It isn't, but again, it could be. Enthusiasm. Oh, brilliant. But no, I've mentioned it a few times actually today. Probably should have stood here for the whole live, really. But here we are. Okay, exercise and enrichment. So that's really exercising the body and exercising the brain to keep our dogs fit and happy and healthy and in a good place mentally. So again, enrichment, super duper important, getting them using their brains, doing appropriate things that they are going to enjoy and get them thinking. Really, really important. Exercise, again, it's about appropriate exercise, but it's about keeping your dogs physically active. We know for ourselves, keeping ourselves physically active makes ourselves feel an awful lot better and keeps our brains in a better place as well. You should have had that one, LJ. I'll let you off again. I don't think you're going to be in detention either today. So that, my lovely people, is our lovely chase model. And you can see how it takes the emphasis away from training and more to looking at the whole picture and the whole dog. And you can see how, the training, yes, it is important. Everything in this is important. And the training will come in confidence, exercise and enrichment. All of those things will have training in them. Of course they will, but everything is really important here. I hope that makes sense. So has anybody got any questions or anything that, burning that they're wondering what's going on? Still won't let me on Facebook. I'm so annoyed. Anybody got any questions? Burning worries? Not so far. I'm still not quite au fait with what the lag's like on YouTube. I was kind of used to it on Facebook, but remembering that we are not our dog and our dog is not us and that we cannot fix them. Exactly. Exactly. And that doesn't mean we can't guide them so that they feel that they're in a better place, so that their responses become more easy for us to deal with. But it's not about fixing, because as far as they're concerned, there's nothing wrong. And our dogs, like us, our dogs are individuals. They have their individual quirks and issues and things like that. And that's all got to be okay, really. But it is something that we work with, and we work with them together, and it's about supporting them. And not to beat ourselves up about it. That is so key. And I'm sure we all do it. I do it still. Of course I do, all the time. In fact, I probably do it more now than I did when I first started, because I think I should, if I make a mistake, I know better. And if something goes wrong, it's almost always because I made a mistake. But again, I am human, so I too tend to be overly critical of myself. So some good news. As I say, we do have something coming up in the pipeline for after Christmas, which is, we've kind of alluded to before, about looking after ourselves and how we can help ourselves. So we've got something that will be coming out that I think will help with that for you. So we're kind of listening to the feedback that we're getting in these lives, particularly actually. And the other thing is, I think, was it last week? And we talked about whether you wanted a workshop or a webinar on mindset. And that is something that's definitely in the pipeline. Again, it's going to be at some point in the new year once I've written it. So you have to bear with me on that one, because if I want to do it really well, because it is something that could be massively powerful. So I want it to be like amazing. So yeah, keep an eye out for that one. We've got the doors open at the moment for the Enrichment Adventures at Home course. I will bob the link for that in the comments again. Absolute pleasure, Patricia. I'm glad I've given you interesting things to think about. I think, for me, this Enrichment Adventures at Home is absolutely, it's one of our pivotal parts of our courses. It's so important. Really, really helpful. So I've just put the course, you might have to highlight it and copy and paste it from there. But yeah, anyway, there's loads of links to that in the Facebook group, and you should be getting some emails. And then next week, we will be, both of us, I hope, will be back, which will be the 18th. Of course, the following week, it's going to be Christmas Day, so we won't be doing a live on Christmas Day, but we will next week. We may well on New Year's Day as well, but we haven't talked about that yet, so I probably shouldn't say that. I'm up for doing a live on New Year's Day, that's for sure. So next week, because we've got the holiday season is upon us, so the live's going to be all about how to survive, basically, with your dog, your reactive dog, when the holiday season is upon us, because there's so much going on. But it depends which hemisphere. Well, actually, I was thinking of Sue in Perth, and there you have got some really, you get hot weather at this time of year. I know it's not the hottest, is it? It's February when I was there that used to be really, really horribly hot. But it'll still be great for that. But there's also people coming round, all that kind of thing. Everything, the routines change. We talked about routine earlier, so routines change. There's lots of novelty around, and then you've got super excitable kids. There's a lot going on. For those of us in the Northern Hemisphere where we've got horrible, horrible weather, and it's dark all the time, it's really difficult to get your dog out for exercise. So yeah, having things that you can do at home. 40 degrees at home in Sue today, you poor thing. I remember when I was there, I was pregnant when I was in Melbourne, and it was a heat wave, and it was over 40 degrees. And I remember sitting in a lukewarm bath, trying to cool myself down in floods of tears, and reminding myself I have never been so cold that I've cried. So yeah, we didn't have any air conditioning over there. It was horrible. And Lorraine's got snow on the ground. Oh yeah, gets worse and worse. But you've been absolutely brilliant again, as always. I know both Barbara and I really do enjoy doing these lives. So thank you for joining us. Particularly thank you for coming over to YouTube after Facebook went down. That's amazing of you. I will put a little link up to in the Facebook comments so that people can come here if they need to. One of those things, isn't it, I suppose. And I'll see you next week. So have a great week. Do feel free to share anything that has been happening for you and your dogs in the group. It's a group for everybody. Oh, can I tell Barbara I did great? Thank you, Lorraine. A pleasure, Lisa. And I'll see you all next week. Take care, everybody.